Steelers blew it. Playoff hopes are dashed. And I ain't talking about you.
It reminded me of the 31-10 loss at Cleveland earlier in the year.
Garbage.
Welcome to the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, Spread fans. I'm your host, Jim Sella. I'm in studio with Jay Dash, as usual, the only one who comes to work every day other than me. Everybody else is just being a bunch of little girls.
Please believe.
Well, fans, I want to start out with a quick moment of silence. My man, Stuart Scott, one of the best in the business, passed away due to cancer, only 49 years old. Stuart, you were great. You did your job on SportsCenter probably better than almost anybody there, so we're just going to give a quick moment of silence. All right, Dash, so what happened in this Steelers game?
They did nothing. All facets of the game were terrible. Offensively, defensively, the offensive line was terrible. Ben wasn't on his game. Obviously, we weren't going to have that great of a run game. We knew that coming in without Le'Veon Bell. The defense was letting up big chunks of yards. Mike Mitchell was the worst player in football. Everything went wrong.
Mike Mitchell is horrible. Terrible.
Honestly,
what are you going to do with this guy?
He played so bad that I think if they would have had someone else in, the game would be different. Like, you can't point to one thing of why they lost, but if they could have fixed one or two of those things, it could have been a totally different game. And Mike Mitchell is so terrible. Did you see him out there?
He's terrible.
He can't tackle. He can't cover. They should have listened to me and played Will Allen at free safety and Polamalu at strong safety.
Shamarko was playing well on special teams. He's flying around.
Play Ventrone out there. I don't care.
Let Youngblood get a chance.
What did you say he has left on his contract?
I think he has 4 more years.
4 more? I'm hoping it's 3 more, but I say just cut ties with him, cut your losses, move on. I don't want to see this crap out there. You can't get worse than that.
Unfortunately, the Steelers' cap situation is going to be a little tricky this year, having to re-sign Ben Roethlisberger.
Play Ross Ventrone there. I don't care.
I don't care. Anybody but Mike Mitchell. He's
Anybody.
absolutely horrible. Mitchell, if you listen to the show or you follow us on Twitter, just stop, because all we're going to do is blast you for the rest of the time we run this show, because you, my friend, are garbage.
Yeah. What can you say besides he's garbage? But the offense, they look like garbage too. Really, the ones that let them down the most to me was who looked like the best part of our offense, which was the offensive line. They were playing so good over the final quarter of the season, and they couldn't block anybody.
Why didn't the Steelers use a little more rollouts? Why didn't their offense adjust to the up-the-middle pass rush from the Baltimore Ravens? We've said it on the show a couple times. One of the easiest things to do to fluster Ben Roethlisberger is come at him straight up the middle, because he'll duck and dodge you and step out of the way of these guys flying in from the edges. But when you come straight up the middle, he may be 6'5", but A, he gets a lot of passes batted down for a tall guy. And B, when you come at him straight up the middle, he gets flustered, he starts making mistakes, and he starts trying to force throws. And that's what the Ravens did. They've played against Ben how many times now in his career? They knew how to neutralize him. They did it perfectly, and Todd Haley did nothing to adjust. It looked like Dan Bylsma was coaching the offense.
Yeah, Todd Haley's garbage too. But this offensive line, 5 sacks they let up for 37 yards. That pretty much stops 3 to 5 drives in the game.
Yeah.
And then, on top of that, we were doing so well with the penalties. We started terrible earlier in the season, and then we cut them down almost completely. We had 100 more yards and penalties than the Ravens this week. They had only 2 for 14. The Steelers, 8 for 114. Every penalty was 15. They averaged more than 15 yards a penalty.
Listen, if you go back and listen to all our tapes of why the Steelers lost some of these games throughout the regular season, every problem they had last night's going to creep up. 5 for 16 on third down. Bogus. Passing yards. They had to throw the ball 48 times for only a 6-yard pass average. What do we always say? Ben has to average around 8. Bogus. 2 interceptions. Bogus. 5 sacks. Bogus. 8 penalties. Super bogus, dude. What's going on? What happened? Where did the discipline go? Where did this team, for the last, 10 games of the season, they were 8-2? Where did that team go? Why did we get the first quarter of the year's team back? What is Tomlin doing in this locker room?
Well, one thing that didn't change with this offense is they got nothing going early. Again,
Nothing early.
We said before the playoffs started that they can't keep doing this. If you do this in the playoffs, you're going to lose. They got nothing going the entire first half. And really, the change was on the defensive side. They couldn't stop them at all. Look, 80-yard drive for a touchdown for Baltimore, 70 yards for a field goal, 57 yards for a field goal, 69 yards for a touchdown. That's the first 3 quarters. They couldn't stop anything.
Nope. Nobody played well. There's not one person on the team that I would say played a great game. And did Brown get his 5 for 50?
Yeah, he had 9 for 117. Jesus. And really, the receivers and Heath Miller, as a total, they played pretty well compared to what they've been doing this season. Usually it's all Brown, maybe a Bryant here and there, but really, Brown had 9 catches, Miller had 6 for 76, Wheaton had 5 for 66, and Bryant had 5 for 61 and a touchdown. So as a unit, the receivers actually were the best part of this game.
The rushing game did exactly what I asked it not to. It didn't get 70 yards. It didn't average. I mean, collectively as a team, we averaged 3.6 yards per carry, but that's because Ben had 16 yards on 2 runs. Harris had 9 runs for 25 yards. That's 2.8. Ben Tate, 5 for 19. That was 3.8. I don't know why they didn't use Ben Tate a little bit more. I know he fumbled early, but anybody can fumble. I know he's not Le'Veon Bell. He's not going to go over 2,000 yards from scrimmage with no fumbles. But he definitely looked better than Harris. Harris looked like garbage every time he got the ball. He just got knocked over right away. It put the offense in a lot of, down and distance situations. They don't flourish very well. They like that, horizontal passing game to get things going. When it's 2nd and 14, you can't throw a screen pass to get out of that. We were screwed from the beginning.
I was pretty surprised to see Tate start the game, actually. But the Steelers didn't run the ball well against them the last time they played, and we still blew them out. We know they have a good rush defense, but they can't stop the pass. So we needed to get this done in the passing game. And Big Ben, he put up the stats again, 334 yards and a touchdown, but he also threw the 2 picks. Not that the second one was his fault. At that point, the score was 23-15. The Steelers had the ball. And we could have drove down the field right there and turned it into a ball game, but instead Tate missed that pass, short pass from Ben. It turned into an interception, a ridiculous pick in between the legs of Suggs, correct?
Yep.
And then from there, first play, 21 yards touchdown, and that was to seal the game right there. It was over.
I know you say we didn't run the ball well the last time we played Baltimore, and I agree. Obviously, the stats are there to prove it. But the threat of Le'Veon Bell was still there. They couldn't pin their ears back and just blast away at Ben the way they could because they knew they had to contain Bell. They knew they didn't have to contain anybody today. They didn't even care about the run game. They blitzed so much. There was always dudes right in Ben's face. So the run game, this game, without Le'Veon in the backfield as that threat, needed to do a little more for them to be able to win it. I didn't like the idea of Ben having to throw 40 or more times. I think maybe Bruce Gradkowski is the MVP of this game. He looks stud. I him.
Mean, you could argue they should have left him in the game there. He put a nice little drive together there, a quick drive. It was only, 20-some yards or something.
Yeah.
But he was looking good. They put Ben back in real quick, and then the pick right in the end zone.
I don't know. The Steelers may get in a little bit of trouble for that. There's concussion protocol that you got to go through, and I know it looked like he was going through some of it on the sidelines, and the announcers were talking about it. But Ben was clearly dazed when he hit his head. You know what I mean? He grabbed for his forehead or his face area. They're going to try to pass it off that it was a neck injury like they've done before, but they better watch themselves. You know Ben had a concussion going back into that game.
Well, he has a full season to recover now, so who cares? Well, back to Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, we wanted him in this game, and he would have definitely helped. But I think they'd have lost this game anyways, Le'Veon Bell or not. Every other facet of the game was so terrible. This offensive line, they got to step up with Bell out, knowing that they're going to bring the blitz. But they did nothing of the sort. They looked like garbage, and the defense didn't help at all. And it wasn't only Mike Mitchell. The entire defense didn't look good. They got somewhat of a pass rush from James Harrison. But
that was about it.
That was it, yeah.
None of the other linebackers did anything. Timmons had his normal game.
I seen
quietly
him miss a tackle too.
being okay, but the DBs, they were all garbage. McCain played bad. Gay had that one pass breakup that was a huge play, but not one defensive back did anything where I was like, wow, look at that. Oh, man, a great play. Nope, pretty much all garbage, all game.
None of them looked that great, but again, if Mike Mitchell wasn't in the game, it would have just looked different because he was the one that got burnt 90% of the time in the game. And let's not forget, he almost got burnt again. I think it was Steve Smith that caught that pass in the back of the end zone and barely stepped out of bounds. That was him getting burnt there, too.
Oh, yeah.
I say cut him.
Why not? I hate him. He's garbage. Get rid of him right now.
And there's one other aspect of this game that was completely horrible, the play calling.
Yeah, Todd Haley's garbage.
Todd Haley is the worst.
I don't care what the stats said for the Steelers offense this year. We talked about it early in the year and probably a little bit in the middle of the year, too, before they went on a run. They weren't putting points on the board in the red zone. They were moving all up and down the field, but not getting any in the end zone any way at all. Honestly, they're settling for too many field goals. They weren't scoring early in the games. The play calling's just terrible. He calls these stupid screen passes on like 3rd and 30. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Todd Haley should just stick to playing golf.
The offense put the yardage there this season. They were second in the league in yardage. And as a team, the Steelers did score points, but in the 17 games this season, including this last playoff game, the offense scored 23.94 points per game. You need to score more from this offense. You have Ben, you have Le'Veon Bell, and you have Brown. This offense can be elite. You need to be scoring closer to 29 points per game just from your offense, not as a team.
Yeah, it's pathetic when you're not putting points in the end zone. You have one of the best running backs in the game. The offensive line was playing well for most of the year.
Yeah.
They should have been able to get, any first and goal,
I do like
second
Mike
goal.
Munchak.
It's just an anomaly to me how we can't get the ball in the end zone. Haley, he just needs to go. We've been saying it all year. I never once said that I like Todd Haley this year. You can go back and listen to every Steelers segment we made. He's garbage.
I gave him credit when credit was due, but you gotta
never was due
also
any credit.
You gotta blame him for when he doesn't do it, and you need to blame him in his game. That 2-point conversion, my brother pointed this out to me. The one where Ben threw the pick on the 2-point conversion. Antonio Brown was the only receiver to go out on that play.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? How are you not going to stop a play where there is one receiver going out for a route?
It's pathetic.
You know damn well they weren't going to run on that play.
Yeah.
So the Baltimore defense didn't even have to play the run. All they have to do is use 4 D-backs to cover one receiver.
Dude, the Steelers' offense has been terrible under Todd Haley as far as points, I guess I want to say. 2012, they only scored 336 points. That's 21 points per game. That was 22nd in the NFL. In 2013, they drafted Le'Veon Bell. Haley has only been successful, really, not only because he had some success in Arizona, but really only successful when he has a great running back. And in 2013, the Steelers scored 379 points. That's 23.7 per game. That was 16th in the league. The Steelers scored only 14 points per game last year in the 3 games that Bell missed early in the season. He missed the first, second, and third game. So only 14 points per game then. And then last night, without Le'Veon Bell, only 17 points. They just don't get it done. They average 19.75 points per game under Haley without Bell in the lineup and 26.66 with Bell in the lineup. That's a huge difference. So with no great running back, Haley's garbage. And I know we got Bell for the long haul, but we can't have our offense going the just because our running back got hurt.
Yeah, it's an opportune time to have an elite offense. It's not going to last forever.
No.
You need to get someone in here that can put up the points. Where's Bill Walsh? He
Where's
passed
he at?
away. Is he still
Bring him
alive?
back. Does he have any kids? I'm sure they know what they're doing. Get Jerry Rice in here. Jerome Bettis
Jerry
would do
Rice.
better. Come on, Todd Haley. He has no clue what he's doing when he's calling the plays. No clue.
Yeah, in the 3 years Haley was here, as an offense, just the offense scored 22.04 points per game. That is nowhere near good enough.
No.
Especially with the defense we have. We came into this season knowing this defense is going to let up
30 or bust, baby.
24 points a game from the defense. We considered a pretty decent game. So we thought our offense had to put up 30 points a game, and they came nowhere close to that.
No, last night, was just a total knuckle bleep of everything that was wrong with the Steelers season.
Who else sucked? Other people sucked in his game. Swisham had a good game. He was kicking field goals all over the place.
Swisham kicked field goals everywhere. He had like 5 or 6 of them. The only way we could score. Let's see. I didn't see much from any of the receivers except Brown. Bryant had an okay day. The running backs were all terrible. The O-line was terrible. Heath Miller had an okay game, but nothing to say, wow, what a great game by Heath. All the D-backs had a terrible game. All the linebackers had a mediocre game at best. And the D-linemen, I don't know, they looked like wet bags of sand out there.
Stephon Tuitt had a fumble recovery at least.
That was pretty cool. Who was the guy that was dragging the Baltimore player around by his arm? Worlds. Yeah, he's just dragging him around by his arm so he couldn't get that fumble recovery. That was awesome.
But these penalties that they took in his game were ridiculous. Speaking of Worlds, he punches a dude in the face in a playoff game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You can't have this crap.
Nope.
What other penalty? There were some terrible penalties they took in this game. And I'm not happy with the refs either. The refs look like crap. Baltimore definitely had more than 2 penalties that could have been called.
Oh, they held Harrison on every single play.
Yeah, you're right. But, again, that's not why they lost this game.
The Steelers shut down the running game for Baltimore. They forced Flacco to beat him. Flacco beat him.
Yeah, early in the game, the defense was having a little trouble with Forsett. But after that, maybe late second quarter, they just shut the run game down completely. And then, like I said, my key to victory, it's going to come down to quarterbacks. Joe Flacco versus Big Ben. I'm making fun of Filipponi saying Big Ben's a beast, Flacco's garbage. I'm dead wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. I just think Flacco had the better game. But, man, it was heartbreaking to watch Joe Flacco win a playoff game at Heinz Field.
Yeah, I thought I'd never see the
Out
day.
of all the quarterbacks I say I hate on this show, I think I hate him more than any of them. And
Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah, I hate him more than Kaepernick.
Well, Joe Flacco went to Pitt at least.
I don't care. I don't like Pitt.
I know you don't.
I didn't go to Pitt. I have no affiliation to them.
What was your key to victory?
Don't play like they did last night.
Well, obviously. That's the key to defeat is play like that.
Defensive big plays, man. We needed that splash play out of the defense. I know they're not going to win you every game. I'm not blaming them for the loss either because they didn't get it.
Gets the blame.
But yeah, everybody, it's no singled out section of the team. If we could have got a pick 6 out of big play Willie Gay, that would have helped out.
That'd
If Mike
huge.
Mitchell wouldn't have missed every single freaking tackle that he had out there, that would have helped out.
Let's not forget that McCain dropped an interception too. That could have been a huge play. I think it was James Harrison that forced that fumble. They said it might have been Worlds, the one that was pulling Forsett as he fumbled. But I think Harrison actually pushed his blocker into the running back, and that made him drop the ball. And then Tuitt recovered, and that was a big play because right after that we had that big touchdown. But that's all the offense did all game.
That was it.
That one splash play. Really, the Steelers played well for 12 seconds of the game. That play there and then the deep pass.
I think the opening kickoff wasn't too bad.
I think they need it. So, yeah, you're right.
See? Yeah, we didn't lose yards. Hooray! Well, out of all these old guys, Ike, Troy, Kiesel, Harrison, who would you bring back?
Well, I don't think it's going to be completely up to the Steelers on Palomalu. I think he's going to retire on his own. I think he's donezo. Ike Taylor, I would not bring back. Kiesel, I would if he wants to. He's another guy that might just retire on his own. And who was the other one you said? Harrison. Definitely bring Harrison back if he wants to play, yeah.
See, the only one I want to bring back is James Harrison. I love Brett Kiesel. I just don't think he's going to have anything left in the tank. It's the same injury that ended Aaron Smith's career, so for an older D lineman to get that injury, it's really hard to come back from.
He wouldn't cost a lot of money, though. It'd be a nice backup end.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think his health would hold up, and he'd end up going on IR or something, and it would just be a waste of time. You could let a young guy... These young guys got to get reps and practice and stuff sometime.
Harrison going on the IR, too, though.
Kiesel, just don't know. Palomalu, stick a fork in him. He's done. Ike Taylor should have left when his arm got blasted in half.
Mike Mitchell, you're done.
Yeah, Mike Mitchell, you were done before we signed you. I don't know how the hell you had a good year in Carolina last year. I think the
turnovers. He had something like 6 picks for Carolina last year. He had no picks for the Steelers this season. I think he had 1 fumble recovery on the season. He had probably 450 missed tackles and 3,000 blown coverages.
Yeah, his coverage is so bad. How is he always trailing behind tight ends? He's supposed to be the faster one of the two.
I'm glad you said something. Who was it? It wasn't Owen Daniels. It was the other tight end, I believe. I'm not quite sure, but it was just a pass over the middle. Mitchell was covering him. He was behind him.
He wasn't covering him, but he was assigned
pass.
to cover him.
Listen, and then the tight end, it might have been Daniels. I'm not sure. He turned upfield, and he was running away from Mike Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
This dude is not only a terrible tackler, a terrible cover guy, he's also slow as balls.
He's just all around garbage, man. I seriously have no idea how that dude was still on the field. They really must have nothing behind them. Nothing. I don't know. Maybe Will Allen can't play that safety position. I don't know.
I disagree. What he could sit there Indian style and play better than Mike Mitchell.
I get it. Mitchell's garbage. I don't know what else to say.
So what are we going to do moving into the offseason with the Steelers? We're going to go over individual players on segments. What are we going to do?
Well, we had a request from our number one fan, Eddie B. Eddie wants us to do a State of the Union for the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise as a whole. I think next week or this week maybe would be the perfect time for that. Steelers games wind down. We have a little less research to do for that. So we're going to go through and analyze the roster, check out some contract situations, maybe some salary cap, see how that's going, figure out who needs to stay and who needs to go. I think we all know Mike Mitchell's number one on that list as far as talent-wise.
Cut your losses.
But, as far as money goes, it might not be feasible for the Steelers to release him. We can break it down position by position and talk about some needs through the offseason, talk about draft needs. We know we need a lot on defense. I still big on believing that the D-line is better than some people think and that the linebackers are just that one player away from being an elite group again.
If Harrison doesn't come back, we're going to need some outside linebackers.
Definitely, because Worlds is gone.
Yeah. And Moats' contract's up too, so they have to sign him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I actually have him 1 or 2 on my list of Steelers free agents that I want them to bring back, in-house free agents.
Offensive, really, there's nothing immediate they have to do.
Depth on the O-line, I think.
But they're going to need a tight end. Yeah, they're going to need some depth on the O-line. They could use another receiver. There's things that they could do, but it's not...
Nothing huge.
Yeah.
I would like a better...
Besides, fire Todd Haley and go get someone good.
I would like a better tackle than Beachum or guard than Foster, but I don't know if there's going to be anybody out there that they could get for the right price to be able to do that. I think Munchak having a whole year with these guys and then another offseason might actually help out.
He did a good job this year, excluding this past game.
If you can get Pouncey, DeCastro, Gilbert, and Adams all playing at an all-pro level, what they should be, Adams isn't even starting, they're all first or second round picks. They should be playing in Pro Bowls or at least competing for Pro Bowls. The offensive line should not be an issue right now. So they need a little depth. They definitely need depth at running back because we've seen what happened when Le'Veon leaves. If we don't cut LeGarrette Blount, do we lose this game?
I was talking to my dad about this earlier. That could have been one of the dumbest moves they made. Yeah, he left the game early. You do want to cut a guy that does that, but you got to have someone lined up. You don't wait until 2 days before the playoffs start and then say, okay, let's sign our backup.
Well, it wasn't just that he left the field early. He didn't come in for meetings and stuff.
And he smokes
the next
LeGarrette
day.
Blunts.
Yeah, he's blazing blunts all day. He's messing with Le'Veon Bell's head, they feel like. Anyway, the organization, they think he's a bad influence on him. So I think a couple of those things all together caused
You got to have someone lined
release.
up, though.
But, yeah, you're right. They should have had somebody. I mean, even if they didn't have somebody lined up right at that second, a week or two at the most. Ben Tate had been on the free agent market for a while. They should have just brought him in.
Yeah, Minnesota signed him instead and then cut him later in the year. But really, they needed to sign someone to back him up, and they needed to get him involved to make sure he can get the job done.
Yep. You don't wait till the week of the playoffs and then have Josh Harris and 3-day-old Ben Tate trying to run your offense.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Garbage. The Steelers coaches blew it. The offense blew it. The defense blew it. Special
Sweesham,
teams.
MVP.
Yeah, I guess all you do is kick off and kick field goals on special teams anymore, so that's kind of pathetic anyway. But I'm sorry, fans. The Steelers lost. There will be more segments. Don't you worry. The spread isn't going anywhere. Me and Dash work hard. I think we're the only two who do work really hard on this show. Parlay. Easy. Sorry, I was clearing my throat. We'll be bringing you Steelers coverage all through the offseason. We're going to be bringing you some Pirates coverage, some Pens coverage. Just keep looking for the spread because we're going to be here.
Garbage.
You love it.